Bonjour. So I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so I thought, why don't we do like a really chill video? And I have this really cool Titanic map. It's a 50% recreation of the ship. It's pretty historically accurate. It's part of a larger project. They want to eventually do like 100% virtual museum. So I thought we would do a little exploring. This is, I believe, the last update on this. This is available for free to download. You just have to go to, just type in Project 401 and go to the downloads, and you can download this as well as prior versions of this, including a like small sinking simulator. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. You can actually we're gonna go to, let's go to the first class because that's the part everybody really likes. Now this should be, yes. So I'm actually using a controller, but you can do like use your mouse. Um, but yeah, so this is where you would have boarded, or one of the ways you would have boarded the ship through first class. This is this it right here? Yeah, I think this is it. So there's a little, this would open up and then you'd go up a ramp. Just like if you've seen the movies, you know what I'm talking about. And then you'd enter here, and this would be full of like luggage and people helping you find your way around. I think these floors are teak. I know they had some teak lining. Teak is very weather resistant, and I think it's a lighter wood. And but yeah, this is one of the first class entrances. All right, so I did go through a Titanic deep dive for about a year. Watched there's a YouTube channel called Ocean Liner Designs that does like documentary style videos on everything Titanic. It's incredibly well researched, and the guy Mike Brady, who runs the channel, he's been in documentaries, and they've done a lot of videos along with Titanic Honor and Glory, which is who made this map, and yes, was it Part Time Explorer, Historic Travels, all them. Um, but yeah, so I went through a deep dive. I'm a little rusty on my knowledge of this ship, but so I'll probably get some things wrong. But that's okay. I'm not a historian. I would strongly recommend checking out those channels. But yeah, so this is the B deck, and I think all these clocks work. There's no second hand, so I can't quite tell, but I think they work. And so this is the, oh gosh, is this the aft grand staircase? There was two grand staircases. We're gonna, oh yes, so one of the luxury features of the ship at the time were heaters. So pretty nice, and you can zoom in. Let me see, yeah. Like you can see the little heat rays coming off. Oh, too close, too close. I'm gonna try to go slow because I can get motion sick. But these floors are linoleum. A lot of people are surprised about that. They think they had marble floors for some reason. But marble is too heavy. And the linoleum that they use is different than the cheap plastic linoleum we use in our kitchens nowadays. It's a very different. It was a newer material at the time that this ship was built, and it's actually really nice looking. Like it's actually, and they did recover bits of the tile work from the wreckage. And I think Most of the walls here is either oak or walnut. I'm not good at identifying woods, but I think that's what they used. It's very nice. So, there's a lot of misconceptions about the Titanic. And I blame a lot of that on James Cameron's movie. He's a fantastic filmmaker, and he is definitely a Titanic enthusiast, and he did do a lot of really good research, but people forget it's a Hollywood movie. So there are definitely some things he took liberties on. I love that tile work. Okay, I'm trying not to. There's a little bit of tearing. That's just my system. This is a big map. How am I doing on time? Okay. So, wow, look at that grading. Wow. Look at that detail. Wow. Sorry. um, oh, I need to slow down, slow down, slow down. So like I said, only 50% of this map is accessible. Oh, here we go. Here's a room. This is a first class room. So there's a lot of misconceptions about the ship or about what happened during the sinking, particularly the character of Captain Smith and Bruce Ismay and Murdoch. He did not, I think it can be argued he did not portray them accurately. Oh, this is interesting. Look at this detail. So I think these are closets. Like this is probably a linen closet. Now they did have this looks nice. Oh wow, this is so pretty. This is so pretty. Um yeah, I would I would strongly recommend checking out Ocean Liner Designs. And oh, there's a website called encyclopediatitanica.org. There's a lot of photos and stuff on there. I'm pretty sure this either went to an adjoining room or it went to a bathroom. Now, so the Titanic was one of the things. Oop, I went too fast. One of the things about White Star Line is they prioritized luxury, comfort, and safety. And I know what you're thinking. Well, they used bad steel, and there was a coal fire, and yeah, just yada yada. They were speeding, and that's not true. That's a lot of sensationalism. That's not true. Um, they were a luxury liner company. Um, they actually had more lifeboats than was required at the time. This is just so well detailed. Golly. This is carpeting. Now, obviously they're not going to put carpeting in. If you've played Titanic Adventure out of time, I think they have carpeting in the hallway, and they're not going to do that in real life because carpeting is very bad for spills. And this is a high traffic area, like lots of foot traffic here. But so it is said, and I think it's been verified, that the second class accommodations on this ship were, can't go in any of those. I think these are bathrooms. The second class accommodations rivaled that of first class accommodations on other contemporary ocean liners of the time. It's what made Titanic kind of exceptional. So what people don't realize is travel back then was very different, particularly on a boat. Okay, they got the room numbers up here. I think when they do the final version of this, it'll tell you who stayed in what room. The Titanic, if I remember correctly, if I recall correctly, the Titanic was not fully booked on her maiden voyage, and the reason why was there was some sort of strike, and they only sold like half the ticket, or a little more than half, which turned out to be a good thing. Um, but sorry, I'm just getting like enthralled with the details. So a lot of people don't realize is they did not have a lot of private bathrooms like some of the bigger suites did, but you had to rent out those bathrooms. Like you had to book those bathrooms. There were like the bigger suites would have bathrooms attached, but you had to book them. Most of the time though, they used communal bathrooms, or rather, it was a little bathroom, and you would unlock it and I don't know if you had to get like staff to unlock it, or I'm not sure how it worked, but a lot of the bathrooms would be in these little hallways down here. If you look at the blueprints, you'll see what I'm talking about. But so it was actually a luxury to book a bathroom, and they would have like I think a tub, a shower, a sink. Whereas I think the little bathrooms, it was like a shower, a toilet, a sink. Whereas it was a full bathroom in the attached to some of the bigger suites. But people don't realize that they did not have their own bathrooms a lot of the time. Um, Now there's not a lot of second class rooms in this map. It's mostly focused on first class, the engine staff area, and the third class. But the second class, a lot of the second class areas or rooms could be turned into alternative first class suites. So they were very much okay. So this is the main grand staircase that everyone. This is the forward. I'm not 100% on my nautical terms, so this is very well detailed. But I think this is what everyone thinks of in terms of the Titanic. Yeah, there's the dome. So, oh no no no, this is actually the aft. So the other one must have been the original. Or maybe this is, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a historian. It's been a long time it's been like a few years since I've played this map, and that is such a beautiful clock. And palms were a big thing. No, this is the forward grand staircase. It's more ornate. But what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, it was the intention of White Star Line to make you feel like you were on, at least for first class passengers, make you forget that you're on a ship. Ooh, look at that. And they tried to like capture the feel of like European hotels. So I think this goes to the Parisian. Trying to go slow. So here's the menu. And I don't believe this was part of the cost of your ticket. I think this is like a separate thing. Like if you wanted to eat here, you would have to pay. So there's let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what ooh, 1912. I've never had mutton chops. I wonder if it's like I'm sure all the food here is good. Quaker oats. Fried rice cakes. Mm. Poached or boiled eggs. Fried tomato. Fried mushrooms. What did I say? Tomato. Tomato. From the States. Goodness. Ooh, this is nice. This is very nice. Let's see. Where would I sit if I was to dine here? What is this right here? Oh, this is where you would book your table. Oh, does it say anything on it? These may be actual passengers. Yes. Mr. Isidore Strauss, Miss Ida Strauss, Mr. Edward J. Smith, Miss Duff Gordon, Mr. Duff Gordon. Yes, these are all actual. Penny Pringle. Isn't that the character from Adventure Out of Time? If you've not played that game, it's a good game. Very old 90s game. I think it came out before the movie. It was around the time. Mr. Bruce Ismay. Oh, he's got his name marked out. He must have canceled. I love that. That is such nice detail. I like that. Oh, oh, oh. Wait. What was the default? I think this is the default. Okay. This restaurant is under the management of the company you have appointed Mr. L. Gaddy, late of Nino's Imperial Restaurant, London, as manager. So this is, I keep forgetting, this is a British ship. Oh, and the steel was fine. There's nothing wrong with the steel. They did have a coal fire, but that was not uncommon for ships back then. And it wasn't anything that weakened the structural support. I feel way too tall. I probably backed out too much. No? Maybe? No. I don't know. Where would I sit? Where would be a good place to sit? There's no assigned seating in this cafe. You just, like, you book your reservation, I guess, and then I think I would sit here because you could look out the window. It would just be me and Bestie or whoever. Probably travel with my sister. I love this wood paneling. It's a little too floral for me. Like, it's very beautiful, but it's a little too floral for me. I do like these columns though. So I believe a lot of these columns are for structural support, like not just decorative. I was reading some about the columns one day and I can't remember. I think some of the thicker columns hid some sort of electrical wiring or something like that. Of course, that was a major concern during the sinking, was all the electrical wires. And I think this goes into the kitchen. I feel really tall. I feel really, really tall. I'm a short bean, so this is very, either that or the ceiling is very low. That is so pretty. That is so pretty. Like, that is gorgeous. You can get like really up close too. See, I'm trying really hard. This is wearing on my system. Ah. So this is nice. So one of the things with maiden voyages is it's a good way to test out what works on a ship. I think they did have some like minor issues with like heating and stuff, like keeping all of the ship heated. Because I think there was one woman, she kept complaining that her room was too cold, and eventually they upgraded her because they had the room because it wasn't booked to full capacity. So she scored, and I think she survived the sinking too. So good for her. This is nice. I really like this. Now I would actually like to, like, if I had to travel like internationally, I would consider booking because they still have ocean liners. I would consider that. I think instead of a flight, even though it would take a little longer. My only concern is I would be scared about getting, because I do get motion sick. Look at those waters. So I would be a little concerned about getting seasick. But I think there was no listing or obvious listing on this ship when she sailed, so it was probably okay. I think the waters were relatively still. The Atlantic Ocean can be very volatile, but I think the time that they traveled, which what was it, April, I think it was relatively calm. So I think that was a good time to travel. Well, not for this ship, but I shouldn't laugh. It's a horrible tragedy. I think these little doors. I know some of those little doors were where staff would, you could like ring staff. There were like little buttons around, like that right over there. I think you could press it and have a staff member bring you things, and they may have been able to exchange items through that little door, but I can't. Okay. I get so turned around on this ship. All right, we're going to go back the opposite way. What does that say? Smoking in the companion. Something is strictly forbidden. Yeah. I think the only place you can smoke in the ship was the smoking lounges. And I think all three, well, maybe just the first and second class had smoking lounges. Crew only. Okay. See, I think these little, maybe not these. I think these were closets. Oh, my system is like, I don't know if you can hear my system, but it's like, okay. Here's another room we can go into. Ooh. This is nice. These beds are so narrow. But maybe it's just my perspective, because I don't feel like I feel like I'm way too tall. Like my point of view is. How nice is it to have a bed right by the window? And there's a heater right by the bed. Oh, what would my room be? It wasn't unusual for wealthy people to travel second class, especially on a ship like this, because, I mean, unless you're going to use like the amenities, like the gymnasium, the pool, you wanted to like mingle with, like British celebrities or whatever, there really was no reason to pay all that money to book a first class room. Yeah, I think these are the bathrooms. But I'd have to look at the map. They do have maps on here. I'm not sure where they're at. So here's another bedroom or suite. This probably went into a bathroom, I bet. Oh, and it has another room next to it. So this is nice. I could like definitely lay here or sit here and read a book. I feel like I'm leaning. Am I leaning? Yeah. Okay. This will probably be an hour-long video just to... Okay, so this bedroom was actually... Ooh, Dev's left a thing. So this bedroom was actually photographed. There aren't a whole lot of photographs of the actual ship. A lot of the photographs you see are actually from one of its sister ships, I think the Olympic. But there was actually a photograph taken by, I think, a priest. I think he was sitting in this chair, and it was like this angle right here. Because I recognize that bed. How cozy. I like the little drapes that you would put across and be like, oh, I don't want to get up yet. And like you could book like multiple rooms together and depending on how big your party was. It's very nice. Very nice. I think that is for your to shave, you know, you would swirl your shaving cream and lather it. I think there are little buttons. It's an outlet. I think there are little buttons somewhere around the bed that you could press. Or I thought there were. Oh, oh my gosh, I keep overdoing it. Okay, let's... I have too much of a headache to try to read that. Maybe it's these buttons. You would press them. Or no, that might be for just the lighting. Wow, look at that. How nice. Okay, let's see. I want us to at least see some of the common rooms. Okay. Yeah, ooh. This is nice. So I don't think all the fireplaces on the ship actually were actual fireplaces. Like I think they had some. I love this writing desk. Here they have a private promenade deck, which is nice. What would you need all this room for? Like, you'd have to book several rooms to justify all the space. So you can see there's the actual, I guess they would call it port door. You would open, but it's hidden by this door, so it looks nicer. Again, the whole goal is to make you forget that you're on a ship. So this is attached to what, this room? Yeah. Oh, this room is so nice. I think this would be my suite if I could afford it. Yeah, here's one of those buttons that you pressed. Ooh, look at that texture coming through. Yeah, ooh. This is nice. This is nice. Yeah, I think this would be my suite. Like I could afford it. Although, you know, third class accommodations for the time were really good on this ship. Like that's actually true. And then here's the elevators. And then you can't access these rooms. But yeah, you can go inside the elevator. And I think they had very young men or maybe boys that operated the elevators, and that's like all they did all day. And they were very, oh, Inception. And that's all they did all day was they were very busy. And I think this went to all the first class, maybe even the second class rooms. And of course, this is another entryway. And this would be full of like luggage and stuff as people were coming in. But then once they sailed, I think they said they used these areas for storage. Okay, so do we want to go upstairs? Let's go upstairs because I know there's some common rooms up here. And I don't know if these paintings are accurate or if they were just the type of art that would have been at the time. So this is A deck. Okay, yeah. So this is where, if you watch the Titanic movie, which most people found out about the Titanic from the Titanic movie in the 90s, this is where Jack and Rose would descend. There's that infamous clock. What was it? One of the cherubs they found. Oh, here's another thing. So, like, at the time period, pineapples were really popular. I can't remember why, but you'll see pineapple motifs everywhere. Pineapples and palm leaves everywhere. It's weird. But yeah, so here's some more heaters. Okay, so we can actually go through these doors. I'm trying to remember where it's going to take us. Okay, I'm going a little too fast. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the reading room, I think. Some nice little stools. You got these little writing desks, which are nice. You know, back when people used to write letters, we didn't have email. We didn't have smartphones. So it's nice. Oh, gorgeous. Oh, they got seashells. Stop. So very nice. How are we doing on time? Ooh, okay. Okay, so this is this the, I think it's called the library. I'm not sure. Yeah, because you'd have books here that you would check out. And it, I think I watched a video where they said it wasn't uncommon for people to, borrow the books and forget to bring them back. And I think they found books that were stamped with the RMS Titanic or White Star Line logo or something like that. But I like this room a lot. Oh, I love this fireplace. So I don't know, was it this? There was some little statue like that they found. And it's now in museums. It like travels across the country or variety of countries and stuff. This is so beautiful. This is incredibly well done. That is just stunning. That is an insane amount of detail. They just don't make stuff like this anymore. Like, we make things that are built to be used up in a year or so. There's no profit in making things that last. I mean, it's just beautiful. Oh, I feel like my perspective got messed up. Okay, there we go. That is just so pretty. Like, there's an insane amount of detail. Gosh, where would I sit? Where would I sit? Maybe here? This looks comfy and cozy. Gosh. Oh, wait. Ooh, me and my besties would sit here. It's very cozy. Okay. So we're going to go back through here. I don't know. Pantry. Okay. Yeah, because you could, I think by some of these chairs are the buttons that you can call for assistance. And I know some of the rooms, yeah, here's a button. You would call for staff to come and bring you something. And I know that there are, oh darn, what was I going to say? I get distracted. I have ADHD. I get very distracted. This is so pretty. But yeah, this is, no, it's the other side. It's either this one or the other one where you can, the submersible will come. I think it's the other one, the submersible. Or maybe I don't know. Okay, here's the smoking lounge, I think. So I think this was men only. Yeah. But I don't think women weren't allowed to come in. It just wasn't seen as, unless you're like looking for your husband maybe, but this is kind of a men's hangout. I think I think that one blue parlor-like room, the writing room, I think was more for women, like more for the female space. This floor gives me a headache. But I think that's actually what the tile looked like. I love this stained glass. This stained glass is gorgeous. That's so pretty. And of course it like covers up like mechanical stuff behind this, scenes mechanical stuff that keeps the ship running. Golly, it's a beautiful room. Like this is opulence. This is opulence. This just so here's that pineapple motif that is literally everywhere. You'd think there'd be more nautical stuff, but again, I think the whole thing was you were supposed to feel like you were at a hotel in Europe. It's just so pretty. That is just so pretty. Wow. I don't I don't know. I think they found a few stained glass panels, but everything was just that is so pretty. That is gorgeous. I like these paintings too. Like I said, guys, if you like this and you think your computer can handle it, and they've got the specs on the website, you can download this for free. This is 100% free. Yeah, so you could buy, snuff boxes. I think that's what they were called. Pipes, tobacco, cigarettes, whatever. Here, I mean, it's the smoking room. Yeah, come here to enjoy a cigar. Here's where the staff would give you, like, oh, we can actually go in there. Would bring you drinks, hand you drinks. This is, what is this? This is, did they call this the palm court? I can't remember. So this is a sitting area. Here you can get more, they could give you more drinks. And I think this is modeled after something. I know the Cafe Parisian was modeled after an actual place. I think this area too was modeled after something. This is so pretty. But you can kind of see where because the 1920s were just around the corner. You can kind of see where the style was starting to change. And this is a pretty cool room. I would hang out here. And here's the deck. Yeah, let's go to the first class promenade. We're not going to be able to see all the first class spaces. I'm going to try to keep this video to an hour. I'm not going to do a lot of edits, if any. And I can always come back and show you more areas, but this is so cool. So I believe this deck up here is actually second class. I know there was something weird about the decks, like the first class deck was not at the top. I think. I could be wrong. So here's some of the behind the scenes. Now, I'm not an engineer. I've watched some videos by guys who are engineers talk about this. I cannot remember. I think these may have powered the elevators. I'm not sure. I think the kennels are nearby too. I think about half the dogs that were on the ship survived. I think there were also, it wasn't uncommon for ocean liners to have, well, any ship back then to have a cat or two in the kitchens to, control rodents. I don't think any of them survived, unfortunately. This is nice. I would sit out here. This is really nice. Sorry, I'm trying to go slower. I kind of want to, I would just, like when I first downloaded this way back, like a couple years ago, I ran around like crazy and got so motion sick. That goes there. Okay, so this is the palm court. Okay. This is really nice. Their deck chair is outside. You could rent a deck chair. I think when you first came in, like when you first boarded the boat, a lot of people went ahead and reserved their deck spaces. So here's some of the behind the scenes areas that we saw earlier. I don't know what. I think this is like a maybe where they stored alcohol. I think this is all alcohol here. There might be some tea. I'm not sure. I think it's all alcohol though. Looks like they have pastries back here too. They did some of the china they did salvage like intact. There are some bottles of wine that were salvaged. I think some people have it in a private collection. Um, it's just really well done. Oh, there's the what do they call them? Spittoons? You could spit out your tobacco. Okay. So we're back out here. I don't want to go outside. I'd like to see a little bit more of the general spaces. Let's see. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff I'm missing. It's such a big ship. It really is. I don't know if at the time it was the biggest ship. I think it was one of the biggest ships in terms of passenger vessels. I'm not sure where the purser's office is. Okay, so I think these are the officers. Maybe the officers' dining area. There's again the kitchen over here. Or, well, an area, a serving area. Okay, here's a map. Oh, I'm not. My eyes are too tired to read all that. But everything in red you can explore. And then it shows you level load points, skip points. I think when you download this in the files, they have this. So you can put it to one side and look as you explore. But I'm too lazy to do all that. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh, here's one of the... That is such a pretty plate. Or, what is this, a bowl? I can't quite tell. I don't care. Okay. So, anything here? Here's another map. So unfortunately it's hard to find Titanic maps online, like really detailed ones, like blueprints and stuff. Everyone wants to sell them. Like sell copies. Like, I'm gonna pay you money for a map. Especially a historical ship. It's a digital map. Yeah. Bathroom 18. Bathroom 21. These may have just been toilets right here. I know they had ones for showers or tubs only. May have just been tubs. Okay, so this is, I think, a first class room. It's either first or second class. But like I said, the second class accommodations were the equivalent of first class accommodations on a lot of ocean liners of the time. I'm gonna say first class though, because it's got marble sinks. This would be kind of a... It's nice, like it's got quality furniture in it, but there's no, like, I don't know how I feel about having no windows. But maybe if you get seasick, that would be ideal. I mean, they are nice for what little space you have. You have everything that you need. But boy, I mean, like, you're right across from a bathroom. No, that's not a bathroom. What is this? I was about to say, if you're across from a bathroom, that could be a little... I don't know. Okay, here's another one. Got a little fan there. I don't like these ceiling fan types. I always feel like I'm sure it's securely bolted, but I feel like it would follow me. You can put little storage up here. It's nice. Okay, name of steward, name of stewardess, note to passengers, a safe in the office. Yes, I'd like to see the purser's office. So, a thing is, so like, if you weren't in these rooms, you couldn't lock them. Like, they didn't have keys to your room. So, you didn't want to leave your valuables in the room. I think that's correct. Which I thought was weird. And another thing I have read in numerous places. Ooh, 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 ooh. I think these suites were occupied by the Strausses. I'm not sure, but this is like the suite that's the basis for the suite that you see in the Titanic movie. That suite, though, was way bigger than, than the actual. This is a really nice suite, though. Like, this is wow. But, oh, I mean, these are nice. I'm not gonna lie, these are nice. Okay, so this is a closet? Yeah, this is a closet. And then here's an example of one of the bathrooms that you again, this wasn't an automatic thing. You had to reserve one of these, like you had to pay to book one of these. And I think you may still wind up sharing it, but I don't think so for first class. I think once you booked it, it was yours. But there's your toilet. Here's your tub. Yeah, you got a heater in here. I bet these tiles got so cold. Can you imagine getting up and like having to like whew. But the water was heated, I think. I think in all the classes the water was heated. I could be mistaken. Look at this fan. This is so nice. Oh, you can hear the ticking. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Okay, so here's the purser's office. And this was the first stop for a lot of people dropping off their valuables. I think this is where you would reserve the deck chairs. We'll go in here. I would highly recommend you watch a tour of this on Ocean Liner Designs. They have a they have so many videos where they've done like just full like just hearing an expert, somebody who's studied this, talk about it. What is that? To call distance station. Press plunder. Navy phone. Interesting. Oh my gosh, stop doing that. This is... Oh, it's just a generic book. Got money in here. Reminder, find owner of cuff link found in reception. That's a nod to Titanic Adventure Out of Time. Yes. Okay. So, what was I gonna say? Gosh. I feel like there's a room around here that is the, um, I think you can visit Thomas Andrews' room in this. And you know it's his because you'll see blueprints of the Titanic laid out. I think it's on this floor. I'm not sure where though. So like I'm getting kind of turned around just this is just first class. Can you imagine third class? I got so lost when I was exploring the crew areas and everything. I can't imagine being in a panic state when the ship is sinking and trying to find my way. So I think, yeah, these are more bathrooms. I think these are the ones that have the tubs in them. I think it was tubs and not showers that they had in them. They did have showers on the ship. Okay, whose is this? This might have been the room. So when they were going to do, like, this was originally going to be a game, and I think you would have stayed in this room, or at least one of the rooms like this. Your character would have. I don't think this chair does not belong. So I think this is a placeholder for the actual chair. But this is a deck chair, or not a deck chair. It's like a promenade chair, or a one of the common room seating chairs. I don't think that's a chair that would have been used. Somewhere around here is a way to access. Maybe it's not this floor. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're getting there. I'm going to have to wrap this up here shortly. Okay. So I think this area was used in the sinking sim. It's a very small sinking simulator that is also available. You can download it for free. It's just a little. It's not even a game. It's just a little. So this is the first class dining area. Oh, I would totally take that couch over there by the. But do you see how they hold on. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. So you see how they try to mask these some of these portholes with these um window panes, and it's these glass panes, and it's kind of ingenious because you it's easy to forget that you're on a ship with these paints, and it would allow natural light to come in, would keep everything bright, and it's much more pleasant to look at than these portholes. But I would totally hang out here. Well, that would be nice. But yeah, this is the dining room. I'm going way too fast. I'm going way too fast. You had to, you were assigned seating. You could request where to sit and you can get it changed, but it was kind of a pain. So, but I mean, for the ship wasn't fully booked. So, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Like, that's really nice. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I know I'm going too fast. I'm trying not to. It's very easy to do so. Yeah, so this is the first class dining area. And I think they said the makers of this said that if what they would do was um they would rather have like they should have lamps on the tables is what I think they said. It's something they didn't put in there, but that they would if they did it again. Um, but yeah, let's stop the video here. I can always come back to this map. Um, if, like I said, if your hardware can handle it, download this because there's a lot of interesting stuff. I'll eventually come back to the map. Didn't mean to do that. There's a lot more of first class we can explore. There's some second class spaces. Ooh, the graphics were glitching on that. There's some second class spaces. There's third class spaces. There's a squash court you can see. There's the gymnasium. There's the swimming pool. There's the little hospital wing that nobody knows about, but there is a little hospital section. There's a little barber shop. There's like a little clinic space. There's the engine rooms. You can see the boiler rooms. We can tour the deck. Anyway, I'm going to come back to this. There's a lot that we can explore here. But, and if you don't care for this sort of thing, no worries. I've got actual gameplay coming up that weekend that I'm going to upload. But, I appreciate you taking a walk with me. And, if you are interested in this, I would highly recommend checking out the channels Ocean Liner Designed, Part-Time Traveler, Historic Travels, Titanic Honor and Glory, encyclopediatitanica.org are all great resources. Lots of cool stuff, lots of cool videos. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. And if you enjoy this video, feel free to subscribe. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.